What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beginner Bike Giveaway Series. Today we are fixing a lot of issues with the MT-03. Stick around, it's going to be a good one. So again, in case you've been living under a rock, it seems like a lot of you are living under many rocks. I have to keep telling you every week, we're giving away this MT-03. Check it out in the description below, yammie.co. You can go there, sign up, get entered to win. We're also giving away a ton of other bikes. There's an R1, a Harley, if you're so inclined to win a Harley if you really want one. And there's a Sparkpillar 401, a Suzuki, 2 Groms, all kinds of cool stuff. Go and check that out. But today, we're fixing this little MT-03, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So if you've heard us talk about this bike, you know we think it's just a little anemic from the factory. And while the engine says kind of rev it out, zingy, sport bike feeling, the whole ergonomics package says naked bike. And naked bike means torque. This doesn't really have it. The easiest way for us to make some good torque gains is a new set of sprockets and a fresh chain. So we're gonna get that on there. What's the number that they claimed we'd get?
It says plus 11% torque across the whole rev range.
It's a lot on a bike like this.
That's gonna be a good chunk. So we're gonna see some really good increased response from this motorcycle. We're definitely gonna get it out on the road later today and see how it feels. And because we just felt like it, we're also slapping on a spicy little slip-on exhaust just to kind of make the party a little bit more fun, give it a little bit more better sound, because right now it is quite quiet and a little bit slow. So let's make this thing faster and louder, which we both like.
Sounds good, let's dive in.
Let's do it. So when it comes to sprockets, you want to make sure of a couple things when you get started thinking about changing the final drive ratio of your motorcycle. Number one, you're always balancing top speed versus off-the-line acceleration. So you don't want to go huge dinner plate style sprocket unless you're going to be stunting or something like that. So we've gone with a pretty conservative setup here, pretty classic sport bike setup. We were going down 1 tooth in the front, so this is a 13-tooth sprocket from the 14th tooth stock right here. And we're going up 2 teeth in the rear. So this is a 43-tooth sprocket in the rear. We're going up to a 45. Going down 1 and plus 2 in the rear is a super common setup for sport bikes, especially if you want a little bit more drive out of corners and just around town. We are also swapping the chain on this motorcycle because even though the chain on the MT-03 is literally brand new, this bike has less than 1,000 miles on it, it's always a good idea to swap your chain with some fresh sprockets because this chain probably will not fit this new sprocket setup. You don't want to get a chain that's going to be a little bit shorter than your sprockets require, so it's always a good idea just to get a fresh chain as well, put a new master link on there and get it ready to go. So we're going to show you how to do that today. So the first step in removing your chain and doing a new chain is to get the front cover off the front sprocket here. So that is just going to be a couple 8mm bolts.
BrianBandSportBikeTrackHere.com. First thing you are going to want to do here is remove the front bolts.
Look at that beefy boy.
That's a big ol' washer.
That's a beefy ass washer. All right, guys, we've got the rear wheel off of the motorcycle. Pretty easy job. I've taken many a rear wheel off a bike in my day, but now I have set it atop of some other tires over here at the bottom to make sure that the brake rotor is not on the ground. You definitely don't want to push on your brake rotor on the ground here. We have our new sprocket right over here that's going to fit onto each of these bolts. It's a pretty easy job. So all we're going to do is remove each of these bolts right here, each of these nuts rather, and then line it up on the new sprocket and torque them down to the appropriate setting, which is 49 foot-pounds. So let's do it. All right, guys, and with that, we've removed the rear sprocket on our MT-03. This is a 43-tooth stock sprocket, and we are going to a 45, as I mentioned. So you can see it's a little bit bigger. It doesn't look like a big difference. It's going to make a big difference on this motorcycle combined with our smaller front sprocket. So now we're going to seat this new Vortex just like that. Perfect fit, easy going. And then we're going to put back on this ring assembly here that I've actually never seen on any other bike that I've changed out sprockets on, which is only my Daytona, but still. I've never seen it on, have you seen a ring like this?
No, I've never seen one.
I don't know what it's for. If someone in the comment section knows what this is for, I would love to hear it because I don't really know what it does, but I will certainly be putting it back on. Alright guys, so we're now breaking the original chain. We're using this pretty budget chain tool here. I would highly recommend if you're going to be doing a lot of chains, if you're going to be doing this kind of maintenance on your bike, definitely invest in a quality Motion Pro kit or something like that. I just picked up the Stockton kit from Cycle Gear because I don't change my chains too often. I'm only doing it for this one video, so I got the cheap one. But a more expensive one will last longer. So all we're going to do right now is use this chain tool push the pin out of the place here. It doesn't matter which link you choose on the chain. You don't have to do the master link on the chain to push it out. You can pick any link and just push it out. So let's do this. I did a bit of a dumb thing in that it's easier to break a chain when it's actually still on the sprocket, but this will work just fine.
Chain broken.
Oh, slide that rear sprocket out, or front sprocket. Oof, entire drive assembly removed and done. Now time to put the new one on.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, we now have both of our sprockets on the motorcycle. We still need to tighten this up over here and make sure that it's up to spec. And now we're going to thread the new chain between the two sprockets. This is a 520 chain. This is unfortunately a clip style chain, which I usually prefer a riveted style chain, but for today's application, the chain I bought is a clip style. And I've seen 50-50 split on chain versus rivets. Most people prefer rivets. I certainly do, but Spite runs a clip style on his DRZ and apparently works.
Yeah, it works fine.
So we're gonna run it on this bike. Let's do it.
So now that we have the chain all set up, we got it clipped on there and it's all basically ready. Before we take this to tension, we need to get that down to torque, which is 54 foot-pounds. So let's do that next. All right, guys, so Papa Yam's got some business to deal with, so I'm gonna take the time to swap the exhaust on here. Now, this is a very easy procedure, and to prove it to you, Andrew, why don't you cut this into a nice time lapse with a timer at the bottom. Just see how long it takes one person who's never done this before on this particular bike to do it. Should be about 6 to 12 minutes, I think. 5 minutes to get the exhaust off. All right, so we encountered a small problem here. We needed an extra gasket to make this fit on there because this is a slightly wider aperture than the mounting bolt on there. However, I found one for my DRZ 400, so it fits up and we've got a slightly wider clamp, possibly off the R3 we gave away, and now we're gonna fit it back up.
Alrighty, everybody, we have installed our little slip-on exhaust in the MT-03. We've got our new sprockets and chain correctly installed, got everything lined up and all looking good. Spite, what do you say we get this thing on the road and see if it's awesome now?
Yeah, after all the work we put into it, I'm dying to see how it feels.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, Spite, out here on the road with the newly refreshed MT-03. New sprockets, new slip-on exhaust, trying to make this bike have a little bit of attitude. Do you think we've succeeded?
Yeah, actually, in the little bit that I wrote it coming up here, it's definitely got a little bit more poke than it did before down low.
Yeah.
It's not exactly, you know, going to tear your arms off or anything like that, but...
Yeah, it's still a 321cc parallel twin. It's not going to have, you know, oodles of power and torque, but I do like this slip-on quite a bit. It sounds great.
Looks good, sounds good, yeah.
Yeah. So we brought it out with the Husky because that's kind of our favorite beginner bike right now.
Yes.
The small displacement class, that same 390cc from KTM. Very spicy ride. I love that bike. But let's take the little MT out and see if it feels any better. Oh, I can really tell the difference in the sprockets.
Right? It took me a second to get it, but now I get it.
I think it's because, you know, I had the R3 for a while, and then I had the other giveaway R3, and pretty familiar with how these platforms feel. It sounds great, though.
Yeah, no, I like that little slip-on. It really doesn't have the down-low party quality that the Husky has, though. I can feel the difference immediately.
Holy crap! Yeah! Now we're talking. Third gear ended at like 45 miles per hour.
And that gold chain looks nice going down the road.
Yeah. Every bike deserves a gold chain, man. You gotta make them gangster, you know? Feels like a little race bike. That's awesome. Man, ripping it through first and third gear, that was awesome. It like pulls really nice. But the Husky still feels a little more effervescent, I would say.
I think the reason why is just because it's a single and it makes all that punch down low, you know? Like you goose this guy down low and it just It wants to feel like it's picking that front wheel up.
Now, one thing I will say is I think a lot of people would say, oh, you know, you don't want to be, you know, too high in the revs with your new sprocket change, but on a little bike like this, I kind of want to be as high in the revs as possible. That's where all the power is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a good thing that, you know, I'm sitting here 4,000 or fourth gear, nearly 7,000 RPM going 45 miles per hour. That's a good thing because I get on the gas and I can move a little bit.
Yeah, there's no lag in the throttle, which is really nice.
One of the best things about these little bikes is, you know, the gearing is already so short. All right, let's see this. To get to 60, I gotta go to 4 gears.
But I feel like that's most little bikes in general, so I don't feel like you've kneecapped it that hard.
But it's so fun to mow through all those gears and do all that. You're working so much with this bike, and it's really fun.
And that's the point, you know. You wanna get one of those little bikes. You wanna feel like you're riding it, doing stuff. Now it's a little bit more deserving of its aggressive looks, you know.
Yeah,
it's
the
super
MT
crazy
moniker now
flare.
fits, you know.
I just wish there was a way that we could make it so that I could fit on it, you know.
Yeah, it is kind of cramped. I can barely fit on it.
There you go. Pick that front wheel up a little bit.
Yeah, I say if you own an MT-03 sprocket set, absolute must. Very
Definitely.
good mod. Very good mod. I didn't think it'd wake it up this much, honestly.
No, I thought we were going to get a little bit here, a little bit there, but you do get a really nice bump just all over the place.
Yeah, but we do have to see how it fares going at least 70. Hey, did you know that's what a V8 sounds like?
I was waiting to see that Mustang spin out and go right into the gas station. All right, now comes the real test. Did we break it?
Did we really mess it up? Is it fun in the city and now we can't do American highway speeds? Let us find out. All right, so I'm going 70. I'm gonna jump on the highway over here. I'm turning almost 9,000 RPM. That's pretty high, but I think doable, you know?
Yep.
I don't think it's too crazy. Like, you could definitely chill on the highway like this. Is it super great? No, but I could live with it, personally.
I'd say on a bike like that too, that's really not meant for big highway miles, it's still worth it. It's still worth sacrificing a little bit of buzziness on the little highway miles that you are actually going to do on there, for the added punch out of a corner and just general fun that bike offers now.
I mean, the great thing about it is, like we mentioned, you're getting that bump across the entire rev range. So I'm sitting here 5th gear going 55, and I twist the throttle. I actually feel this bike pull underneath me, whereas that before, it's like it wasn't even moving anymore, you know?
Yeah, it really took a lot for that bike to feel like it was doing anything.
And even though, you know, installing the new chain and all that can be a little daunting, I think if you just take an afternoon, do it nice and slow, I think anyone could do it, really. It's not a super difficult job.
Do you think we'd still need to do that throttle tube switch to make it so that you don't have to turn it 12 times to get to full throttle?
Yeah, that would be a good mod, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, God, that is a long throw to full throttle, but it is what it is. Oh, dude, it's another V8. Did you know that?
There you go. Look at him go.
That's what they sound like. It's a real fucking whirlwind getting this thing to 60 miles per hour. Just like, bah, 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 bah.
So, my sweet little squid, this video is actually over, but lucky for you, click on this one right here. You can keep watching your sweet Papa Yam delivering you the motorcycle content you've come to know and love. Don't worry, I'll wait. I'll be here waiting for you. You're gonna click on that video.